What is up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining my stream today. I'm Audrey. I will be talking about the My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission movie today, and just to give a shout out to Anime TV Japan, I will be doing this stream without any like background music because we will eventually edit it and put it on Anime TV Japan's YouTube channel afterwards. So sorry if it's kind of just quiet. It'll just be me talking the entire time today, but it's all right. I have a lot of content to go over, and for those of you who are afraid of like spoilers, no worries. I will give a disclaimer before I start talking about like actual spoilers from the movie. So yeah, today I have a list and an outline of what I'm going to go over today. So the first thing I will talk about is the My Hero Academia movie manga. This is the special manga you get if you go to the theaters in Japan. It's like the similar to the previous two movies. It's like 80 pages or something, and there's 9 pages of an original comic. This one doesn't have any like spoilers per se, but I will go over this and talk about it. And after that, I will also go over a couple of movie merchandise that is exclusive for the My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. And then after that segment, I will be talking about the movie itself and giving my thoughts. I guess I'll do like a non-spoiler version and then a spoiler version after, which is going to go more in depth with the details of the movie that I tweeted earlier today. So yeah, I hope you guys have fun, and yeah, let's just jump right in. So for the manga itself, let me just pull up the My Hero Academia website. So it's structured in a way that once you turn the page, unfortunately I cannot actually show the inside of the manga, but when you open it, you see a warning page that says like, if you go further, if you read further, there's going to be spoilers for the movie, so don't read the manga until after you've watched the movie, which I did. I actually read the manga part after I watched the movie, but I read the Horikoshi's like Q&A, which was a very funny trivia part that was not spoilery, so I can probably go over that with you guys. But in either case, so when you open it, there's like a table of contents and a bit of an introduction of the My Hero Academia anime, like seasons 1 through, I think it ends around 5, let's see. Oh yeah, 1 through 5. And then after that, it talks about the different characters in the movie specifically. So over here, all of these characters, like this guy Salam and Big Red Dot, and these villains are in this manga book. This manga book here. This is what it looks like on the back. It's the Pinot bird in the back over here. But yeah, so like the next section is all of the characters. So it starts with Deku, and there's a lot of like, I think this is first the anime character designs, because after the anime side, there's also Horikoshi's own character design page. So I'm guessing that they obviously based it off of the Horikoshi's designs. But the thing that is kind of interesting is that these 3 character designs for Bakugo, Todoroki, Deku in their suits, it's literally they barely wear it in the movie, which is kind of a letdown, honestly. I don't know why they didn't wear it. There's so many opportunities that they could have worn it, but they didn't, which was very strange for me. But anyway, so you see Deku's design, and then you see Bakugo's, they're called stealth suits, stealth design, and then Todoroki's design, and then you see Rody Soul, a bunch of like different anime like character designs for him, as well as like his actions, and then his siblings, Roro and Lala. I thought it was Lolo, but it's like R and the L kind of sound similar. So it's actually Roro and Lala. And Rhodey's bird's name is Pinot. And then after that, I think these are movie exclusive characters. In the Endeavor one, it's this one, Clairvoyance. There's an anime cell character design for her. And then she has a sidekick. It's just her, like the sidekick's name is Kurea no Aibo. It's like her partner in crime. And then there is the big red dot, this lion dude. And then Salam, this guy. This guy was actually really funny in the movie. It's not a spoiler or anything, but he literally is just like a 2D character. Like, he's just 2D. He has no 3D. Like, when it's very funny. Yeah, so he just looks like a hieroglyph. It was animated very, very interestingly. And then there's a page with Burnin, as well as some of Burnin's like action scenes in the anime. And then you see Majestic. That's the name of the guy who I forgot was Yayorozu's pro hero intern dude. I was like, what was his name? But yeah, it's Majestic. And then there's the picture and like character art of the villain, Flecked Turn. And then after that is the Serpenters. This dude. It's actually, they're twins. It says right here, but like, yeah, they look like this, and then they have a really crazy quirk. Well, that I'll explain later because it goes into spoiler territory. And then after that is Leviathan, this dude. And then Bedos. Bedos is actually quite prominent in the movie. And then there's a couple more villains that you don't see on the website, and they appear throughout the movie kind of like briefly. And I'll explain those villains as I go through the summary. It's a bit of a spoiler, so I'll talk about that later. So after that, in this manga book, there's an interview with Deku's voice actor, Yamashita Daiki, and then there's an interview with Okamoto Nobuhiko Bakugo's voice actor, and then there's another interview with Yuki Kaji, Todoroki's voice actor, as well as Rhodey's voice actor, Ryo Yoshizawa. And I haven't actually read any of those interviews yet, but they're actually fairly long. And then there's a really, really long interview section. It's kind of like a conversation back and forth with all of Horikoshi's editors, past, present editors, and they kind of talk about like various things about the history of My Hero Academia. I kind of skimmed over this. There's not much like super like new revelations or whatever within their conversations, but I do have to read through this more in depth because it's also very long. So the next section after that is Horikoshi's actual design. So for this movie, I think Horikoshi actually didn't do that much. He wasn't as involved as the first two, because in all of his comments in this manga, as well as in the pamphlet, the movie pamphlet, he's saying like he did the character designs, and then the I guess the animation Bones, the production company, pretty much like made this movie. So it's not very clear how involved he was, but I'm guessing he wasn't very involved because yeah, this movie is, you can tell it's like kind of different in tone from the previous two movies, as well as the manga itself. It's still like a really fun movie, but I felt like it was a bit random. Like when I was watching it, I was like, slightly unsure why is this a movie? But it was still fun. Anyway, so Horikoshi has a lot of designs for all of the characters in the movie. As I said just now, like the stealth suits for Deku, Bakugo, he has like really really detailed drawings of like how does like Todoroki's hood can be unzipped, and he can like his shoes have like specific grips on the bottom, and Bakugo's gauntlets are in a certain way, and Horikoshi's like super super crazy attention to detail. So yeah, it's really really cool to see his sketches. And there's also several pages of Rhodey and Pino, and then there's that clairvoyance lady and Salam, Big Red Dot, and Flecked Turn. So all of these villains actually are drawn and originally drawn by Horikoshi and designed by Horikoshi. So I'm assuming that's kind of like the extent of his involvement with this movie. But yeah, it was interesting. But anyway, I think what we can do first is go over the Q&A. I have it over here. I translated this in the afternoon really quickly. It was very, very fast. It's like only a couple pages. And this one doesn't have any spoilers for the movie, but it does have like really random trivia about the characters throughout the series. So the format is like someone is just asking Horikoshi like, oh, like please answer these like random like fan questions. So we can go through this one. So question 1. Is All Might close with any other pro heroes? And Horikoshi says there's no one in particular he's close with. It's kind of like a surface level relationship. When he retired, though, he became a bit closer to Aizawa. So I guess All Might didn't have like any really, really close buddies that he hung out with. Kind of sad. But yeah, that was question 1. Question 2 is kind of funny. It asks like, Deku's t-shirt is quite unique. It's the tone for the unique is like kind of like, it's like plain. but yeah, they say unique. And what does his classmates think about it? And then Horikoshi says they don't really talk about it, but Ojiro thinks it's cool. Which is funny because Ojiro is like the plain character as well, right? And then it leads into question 3 where it says, is there anything about Ojiro that's not plain? And Horikoshi says his fashion sense. So that's interesting because I didn't expect Ojiro to be fashionable per se. Do we see Ojiro as like very fashionable in the series? Because I haven't really paid attention. But yeah, he's actually in this movie very, very briefly as well. But question 4, what does Aizawa do on his days off? He thinks about his class curriculum during his days off, and he likes to sometimes follow stray cats. So this is quite cute. And then question 5 is Kirishima and Ashido are from the same middle school and town. Does everyone know this? And Horikoshi says, a few people know just from the flow of conversation, but no one really dug deep into it. And no one knows about Kirishima's high school debut. So that's kind of funny because I guess Ashido she kept her promise. She never told anyone that Kirishima like did an overhaul of his whole personality before going to high school. So that's cute. Question 6, during the dorm room contest, we didn't see Bakugo, Tsuyu, or Mineta's rooms. What do they look like? And Horikoshi says Bakugo's is a smart style. Tsuyu has a bit of an ethnic flair, and Mineta's is basically a disaster. He just didn't have time, apparently, to draw them. And then someone asked me, what does a smart style house look like? In Japan, here, I'll just, I'll show you. It's like basically a contemporary. It just looks like, you know, like it's not cluttered. It's just kind of, you know, simple, clean. That's what smart style means. So you can kind of just imagine like, here, wait, let's do this. Let's do dorm. So yeah, like this, simple, clean, you know, not too cluttered. This is what Bakugo's room would look like technically. But yeah, very interesting trivia. I wonder when we'll ever see it. But yeah, Tsuyu has a bit of an ethnic flair, so I'm guessing it's kind of like Seto's as well. Oops. Sorry, I'm adjusting my chair. Anyway, so going to question 7. Oh, thank you. It's Hannah. I will do a posture check. And 02BR, thank you. I will drink my coconut water. But yeah, question 7. During the quirk assessment, when Ochako threw the ball, this was in season 1, right? Where exactly did the ball go? And Horikoshi says she released her quirk and collected it. So if you guys remember in that episode where they're like playing the ball game, they like she threw the ball and the zero gravity made the ball go into like space or whatever. But I guess someone wanted to know what happened to the baseball, and they collected it. So it's not in space or whatever. Question 8. Who prepares Aoyama's luxurious lunch meals? I actually didn't even notice that Aoyama eats something different from everyone else. But in this, the manga panel that they chose, it's like Aoyama drinking wine with his like super fancy French food. So yeah, apparently Aoyama prepares it himself. Question 9. Kaminari placed last in the midterm exams, but is there any subject that he's actually good at? And Horikoshi says nothing at all. Kaminari is not good at any subject in school, which is really sad. Yeah, these are really random trivia questions. Like, it's very funny though. A lot of lore building. All right, the question 10. What was the first animal that Koda raised? Horikoshi says his family already had a dog by the time he was born, so I guess that would be the first animal that Koda had. Question 11. Jiro and Yaoyodo's are pretty close, but what do they talk about when it's just them? And this was actually mentioned and referred to in the Ultra Analysis Hero Academia book that came out, I think, in 2018? Yeah, I think it was 2018, where Horikoshi mentioned that, like, they often share, like, you know, their own interests with each other that the other person might not know. So he kind of reiterates that, where he says they seem to enjoy teaching each other like different pop culture stuff that they're not familiar with, and they're able to gain knowledge and find common interests. Question 12. What would happen if Kami created an illusion Ida? And Horikoshi says, I guess Ida would be very surprised. Super random. I guess someone was like, oh, what happens if we have a really, really dashing Ida? But yeah, the question 13, what's the best masterpiece of a nickname Seto has given anyone? And Horikoshi says, when referring to Deku, Mr. always putting himself down, Muddy Doll. I actually, like, I'm not sure how to translate this properly. It's an idiom. It's basically, I don't remember if Seto actually even says it in the manga, but I guess he called Deku a nickname before, and I'm not sure what they officially translated it to, but in Japanese it means like someone who's always like kind of like sludging through and like kind of always being really harsh on themselves. I have no idea what the official translation did for this, if it does even exist in the manga, but this is a very interesting question. Oh, blood chronism, was it in the joint training arc? Yes, it sounds familiar, but I just don't remember like the reference. So if anyone knows, please let me know, because I was like, this was the only question I was like, what? when I read it. Anyway, question 14. When will we see Hagakure and Shoji's actual faces? Horikoshi says, Shoji's will be revealed, but I'm not sure about Hagakure. So this is very interesting because in 2018, Horikoshi had a very long interview with Natalie magazine. It's like a Japanese culture arts magazine, like media and so forth. And I remember in that interview that I translated years ago, he mentioned like, oh yeah, Shoji will have his own arc, and it's gonna be like very, very, he's gonna be spotlighted in that arc. And come 2021 right now, we're like at the end of Hero Academia, but I have not seen Shoji's arc yet. So what's going on, Horikoshi? And then I remember also Horikoshi mentioned at Comic-Con in San Diego that I think it was also in 2018 that Deku's dad was supposed to make an appearance soon, which, as far as I know, I haven't seen him yet. Unless it's a character that we actually have seen and we just don't know it's Deku's dad, but I doubt that. So yeah, a lot of questions that need answers. Anyway, next one, question 15. When Todoroki decided on what to suggest for the cultural festival, he watched a video online. And what kind of videos does he usually watch? And Horikoshi says Todoroki doesn't usually watch like videos online. It's basically like referencing YouTube. But if he does, it would be stuff that high school kids watch. And he says Todoroki didn't really have much friends up until now, so he tries to kind of like watch videos that he thinks like, oh, maybe my peers would watch it, and then like it can, strike conversation in the future. So I think that was really cute. Question 16. What's Sato's best dish? And it apparently is, that Horikoshi says, is Ochako said, Sato's berry tart can bring peace to all mankind. I think this was in the dorm contest episode, I think. But yeah. The more you know, Sato's berry tart. Question 17. Who's the strongest student from the hero class when not using their quirk? And Horikoshi says Mirio. So apparently Mirio is the strongest student with not looking at quirks, just by physical strength. And if not, if they're talking about first years, it would be either Shishida or Shoji, or maybe not. Like Horikoshi is like, I don't know, maybe Shishida or Shoji or none of them. his attitude is kind of like, I don't know. So very random trivia. Anyway, question 18. UA teacher, which UA teacher has the most popular class? And Midnight's class is pretty popular. She allows her students to openly express their thoughts, and they have lots of presentations, and it seems like a fun class. That's really cute. Question 19. President Mike seems to hate bugs. Did something happen in the past? And Horikoshi says, not really, it's just in his genes. I don't remember any scene where President Mike says he hates bugs. Do you guys remember when that happened? Because I couldn't figure out the reference. Apparently, it's just in his genes. Oh, Koda attacked him with bugs in the final exam? Was he freaking out about it? Because I don't remember that at all. When I read this, I was like, oh, this is such a random question. Anyway, question 20. Which pro hero is #1 ranking in the hero who looks the most like a villain category? And Horikoshi says Endeavor. Question 21. Hawks likes eating yakitori, which is like grilled chicken skewers. But does Tokoyami like eating chicken? And Horikoshi says he's neutral. He says like futsu desu, which is like, I didn't really know how, it's kind of like, it's not like neutral, it's just like, he doesn't really care. It's like whatevs. Yeah, it's like whatevs for him. But then Horikoshi says it's kind of like, that's kind of a heartless question. I thought that was very funny. Question 22, can you tell us a story secret? And Horikoshi says that the robots at UA Academy actually had their AI rebel in the past ones, and it's very random trivia. I don't know if that's going to be like a plot point in the future, but maybe that's why the robots are so sassy. So the next three questions are just personal questions for Horikoshi, not related to My Hero Academia. So the first one is the setting for the movie is like the world, and is there somewhere in the world that you'd like to go right now? And Horikoshi says he wants to go to Disney World's Galaxy Edge because he's a huge Star Wars fan, right? So yeah, Galaxy's Edge is a Star Wars themed land in Disneyland and Disney World. It's actually awesome. I went to the one in Disneyland and it like blew my mind. So yeah, Horikoshi would like to go to Disney World's Galaxy Edge, and another one is Phuket's Kimala Resort. I don't know if you guys know what Phuket's Kimala Resort is, but it's really cool looking. I'll just Google it, show you guys. It's like these little huts, and you can stay in the hut, and the huts are built over the jungle. So you're basically like staying in a hotel room in the trees. So yeah, very cool location. And this is a place that Horikoshi wants to go to, as well as Star Wars Galaxy Edge. So question number 2. Speaking of movies, what are your top 3 movies? And Horikoshi says it's always changing, but for now, it's number 1 is Akira, number 2 is The Ring, and number 3 is Spider-Man Far From Home. He's a huge Spider-Man fan, so. Oh, one reminder, thank you so much for the bits. Yeah, oh yeah, the Kimala looks so cool. I want to go there one of these days too. Question 3, what piece of work is considered Horikoshi's own personal Bible? And Horikoshi says Akira. I remember actually in a previous video interview with Horikoshi, they showed like at that time, I think it was in 2015 or 2016 that they recorded that video. It was showing Horikoshi's studio, his like, workspace, and he says that every day or almost every day they have Akira playing in the background, like on the TV in the office. So he really likes Akira, and I personally have never watched Akira before, so I don't really know if there's like a lot of references to it in the actual story of My Hero Academia, but it is his number 1 movie, so yes, very interesting. So yeah, that is a pretty big section for the Hero Academia World Heroes manga, this one right here. And then the section after Horikoshi's Q&A is the 9 pages of the original manga that he drew specifically to lead into this movie. And I guess I'll talk about this later when I'm talking about the summary, because for those of you who don't want to hear spoilers, I will just have all of the spoiler stuff in one section. So I guess right now I will just kind of talk about my like non-spoiler thoughts about the movie. I thought the movie was really fun. I watched it at 9 a.m. today. I woke up like early and went to the theater. And right now, like because of COVID, a lot of the spaces in the theater are like restricted, so each movie theater cannot hold maximum capacity. So like you sit in one seat, and then the person next to you has to be open, and then someone can sit in the seat 2 seats down. So the theater was still packed, even with that rule implemented. But I think like you will clearly see with the box office numbers that it might be lower because of COVID restrictions. But yeah, the movie itself I feel wasn't as like exciting, I guess, as the first 2, like the 2 Heroes or Heroes Rising. I feel like it was because the movie was marketed to be something about like Deku Bakugo and Todoroki with Endeavor and Hawks doing like an internship, which I thought that was a movie that's what the movie would be about. But it kind of wasn't. So or like not to that extent. So I thought it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's kind of almost a slice of life with a lot of action, which is interesting. If you like, just kind of a one-off story. I don't think it has any impact to the manga story at all. So yeah, I don't know. Like action wise, it was awesome. There's definitely several scenes that like kind of like blow you away. And Nakamura, as well as like the anime staff, is like really stacked with like talent. So there are a lot of scenes that are really, really like beautiful and really engaging, visually engaging. But in terms of the plot, I think, yeah, I could have. I don't know if it was worth like making a movie during COVID. Like, I think they could have definitely waited to make a movie. It's kind of strange that they even made a movie during this kind of time, when they had to like record voice actors and voice actresses and get everything, animated, as well as doing season 5. So I didn't really understand the rush to get this movie out. It was still entertaining though. I said in my Twitter post I would give it like around 7 out of 10, solely because it's like it is a very, very fun movie. Like if you watch it, you'll definitely have a lot of fun, but it's not something you want to take seriously, because it's a lot of it is kind of like original story that has no impact to the manga story, whereas in the Heroes Rising, there is like, much more connection to what Horikoshi had as a vision for the end of the My Hero Academia series. But this one, you can feel that his involvement is not as much. So yeah, I give it like, I guess a 7 out of 10 is kind of a high score. I am sure some people who watch it might be like, oh, that was like a 5 out of 10. Oh, my webcam froze. How awkward. Let me fix that really quick. Thank you, Blood Chronism. I stream on a Mac, so sometimes my webcam explodes because Mac obviously can't work with Streamlabs OBS properly. But thank you for letting me know. But yeah, I don't know. I had fun watching it. I thought there were moments that were really, really awesome and super well animated. But was this movie necessary? I don't think so. Like, not at all. But yeah, I guess that would be kind of my review for this World Heroes mission. I bought the light novel yesterday. It was actually sold at Animate stores officially, and I read through most of it. I'll show you guys the light novel. This is a light novel over here. You can see it's like the movie poster, and this is the movie manga. So it looks like this. But yeah, I read the light novel yesterday, and I was like, okay, I kind of know already what the movie's going to be about because I read the light novel, and it was like reading it. I was like, okay, cool. Like I couldn't really visualize it very well, but today when I watched it, there were scenes where I thought it was kind of going to be boring, but it was actually really awesome. So it does change when you are watching it and presented visually with all of the music and the acting and everything. But I definitely do not think this movie was something that was necessary, especially during this time of COVID, where resources are fairly limited, I assume, for the industry. But at least they got it together, and it was a pretty long movie. So, and it's a feel good movie. It ends on a very, very nice, like a nice note. So, it all comes together at the end. It comes full circle. It's like feel good. Horikoshi mentioned that like this movie is very, very lighthearted compared to what's happening in the manga right now. And I totally understand. Yes, it is true. The movie is definitely considerably lighthearted compared to the manga. But would I recommend watching the movie? Yes, I recommend watching the movie. It's still a really cool, fun action movie. But if you don't really care about like original stories or the new characters, then it's definitely skippable. But yeah, I would recommend it to watch the movie if you are a fan of My Hero Academia and you want to see amazing animation. But yeah, that's pretty much my non-spoiler review. The next section of my stream today, I just want to show some merchandise that is sold at the theater, and all of these items, we're helping people get them on itaikuji.com. So if you would like to buy these things, you can go to itaikuji.com, and I'll link you guys. There's also a coupon code. If you see the Streamlabs, my automated bot, it will tell you, let me see if I can get it to pop up. Hold on a second. Oh, there we go. There it goes. Cool. So yeah, if you guys want to use the coupon code AKT500, you can get 500 yen off your order if you make an account with us. So yeah, I'm just going to show you guys some of the merchandise. So this is a acrylic charm. It's a blind pack. So I was just thinking of opening it up right now. And let's see which character I get. Oh shit! I got Hawks. Whoa! Here, I don't know if you can see it. Very cool. Very cool. There are 7 characters you can get. Deku, Bakugo, Ochako, Todoroki, Endeavor, Hawks, or Rody. And I got Hawks, so that's pretty lucky. Cool. I don't know if you guys can see it. Looks like this. Very cool. I'm going to open a can badge now. This over here. Let's see what is the character. Oh, Deku. Awesome. I don't know if you can see that. This is from the movie poster art. This one over here. Very cool. Very cool. And let's open one of these blind packs. It's the can badge version of this acrylic charm. So let's see what this is. Oh, cool. Ochako. Here we go. It's also very cute. Very, very cool. So yeah, these merchandise you can get on Itaikuji if you're interested. And these are all movie merchandise that's only sold at the theaters. And there is a big pamphlet here that I have as well. This is contents within the movie, as well as interviews with the director, interviews with the screenwriter, and the Umakoshi has a interview as well as his own character sketches. And Yuki Hayashi, also the composer, has an interview in this pamphlet. So very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. All right, so I guess that is the extent of the non-spoiler part of the segment. So now I will be going over the summary as well as answering any questions that you guys might have about the movie. But I saw some questions already you guys asked me. I can just like go over it really quick. Let's see. Is Rhodey likable? A lot of his actions during the film aren't. So again, right now this is like spoiler territory. So for those of you who don't want to hear spoilers, I recommend just exiting out because I'm going to be talking solely about specific movie details from now on, going over the entire summary of the movie and then answering on the way, answering questions. So Goose King, you asked, is Rhodey likable? A lot of his actions during the film aren't. He has a lot of screen time. The movie is basically like Rhodey and Deku are on a road trip, like for an hour, like well over an hour. They're like trying to escape from the police, trying to escape from Human Eyes, and you learn a lot about Rhodey, and you actually feel kind of bad for him because he goes through a lot of shit, and he is a likable character. It's very sad, like his background and his past, what happened to him and his dad and his siblings and his mom. So you definitely like yeah, you can empathize with him. So he does look he does like is likable. Can you talk more about Bakugo does in the movie? Why do people keep talking about his pose at the end? At the end of the movie, like around the end, the last boss fight, I guess. They each get their own. Like Todoroki has a major fight, Bakugo has a major fight, and Deku has a major fight. So Bakugo fights these two, these guys over here, the Serpenters. And their quirk is like their arms can turn into like whips, I guess, or they can like extend their arms and it's full of blades. So at the end of the fight with the Serpenters, he's just kind of like crouched down like this. I don't know, is it if that's a reference to something? I didn't think that it was a reference, but it might be some kind of pop culture thing that I did not catch on. But yeah, during Bakugo's fight with these Serpenters, like his mask gets torn off and his clothes get ripped to shreds, and then there's blood everywhere. This movie had like a lot of blood. I was very surprised that they showed this much blood. Like Deku gets shot, he's bleeding profusely. Rhodey gets shot, and Rhodey is like basically like bleeding on the floor until he gets to the control room, and there's just like so much blood. I was like, wow, this is for kids. So yeah, I was very surprised. But I probably, yeah, we'll just like answer questions throughout the explanation of the summary. So let's see, where, oh yeah, here we go. This is the summary that I wrote. Very long. It took me like around 2 hours to write it. It was funny because like when I was watching the movie, I was trying to like very, very nonchalant take notes on my phone, like every like section of the movie I would like furiously write down notes, and then some of my notes were like really funny after I read over them, and I was like, wow, I actually wrote that. I think one of the funniest ones was I wrote like Todoroki does some crazy shit with ice, like holy shit, Nakamura. But yeah, Nakamura has three very, very noticeable sequences in the anime movie, and they're all during the Todoroki's fight. Bakugo's fight, I think, has a Nakamura scene as well. I'm not 100% sure though, but definitely Todoroki and Deku's fight had Nakamura's signature like pencil sketch and like crazy like animation skills. It was mind-blowing. But yeah, so the movie starts off with like Humorize. They commit an act of terror. They kill a lot of people, and then you see everyone's already in their internships. So technically, this is supposed to take place during the Endeavor internship, which I don't actually remember the timeline. Isn't the Endeavor internship only supposed to last for 1 week? If that's the case, how do they have time to go to a different country and save the world and then go back to the internship and finish it all within a week? Like, the way that the timeline makes no sense. But anyway. Yeah, so Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, in the beginning of the movie, right off the bat, they're wearing their really cool stealth suits, and they're in a plane, and then they jump out of the plane, and then they follow Endeavor to Humorize's hideout in Ocean. It's actually spelled Otheon, Otheon. It looks like a mix of like Rome, San Francisco, like Florence. It's like Italy and San Francisco combined. And they have like cable carts from San Francisco. They have the Golden Gate Bridge that looks almost exactly like the Golden Gate Bridge, and a lot of European influences. So that's Otheon. And they also show the other internship groups, like the ones in Tokyo, Cairo, Paris, New York, Singapore. The Singapore team, Yayorozu and Setsuna, as well as Majestic, they are there for like 3 seconds. Like, and throughout the entire movie, they appear. I can't even remember like anything significant they said. It's just so fast. Like, so I was kind of curious why they didn't just show every Class A student, because since they already show like, you know, a bunch of Class A, Class B students in like Tokyo, Cairo, Paris, New York, they might as well have just showed everyone. Because these teams, they actually appear very, very briefly. They do appear several times throughout the movie, but each time they do, it's like less than 3 minutes of screen time. It's very short. But in the beginning, you can see everyone is like listening to the news about Humorize, and then they are all like dispatched to fight the different factions of Humorize. And as each pro hero internship is dispatched, Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki enter the Humorize building, and they are being monitored by the Hero Association. So there's like a really, really big control room that is monitoring all of these pro hero interns, and All Might is with them, and they're like telling each country pro hero team like, oh, you have to, you know, go here to fight Humorize, and you have to go here and to find the bombs or whatever. So there's like a hero association watching over them. And I wrote there's a ton of action scenes during the first 10 minutes of the movie showing different pro heroes fighting in different countries. Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki's suits look really cool as they take down the villains. And then as they fight, there's a guy who runs away with he has an eye patch, and he's carrying a metal suitcase. And he's he's running away for his life. Like he's being chased, I guess. And then after that, it cuts to the opening scene of the movie. It's kind of like an anime opening almost. And basically it's just like showing all of the characters in each of these countries. And then they really, really briefly show Ashido, Koda, Aoyama, Hagakure, and Ida. I forgot to write Ida here. But they don't really show up in the movie at all. Which, again, I don't know why. Like, they definitely could have put them in. But, I don't know, whatever. It's very strange very strange production choice. And then after that opening sequence, we see a scene of the Otheon slums, and it's really, really colorful and really pretty. The slums actually looks like almost like India. It's just really, really colorful, and it looks like almost like Asian instead of like European, but it's only the slums that looks like that. And then Rhodey is introduced with his two siblings, Lolo and Lala. Roro, sorry, and Lala. And Rhodey is looking for work. They're very poor. They live in like a very, very rundown shack. So he goes to this bar to ask for if this guy Stanley, who owns the bar, if there's any work for him. And Stanley doesn't have any work, so he just borrows Stanley's bike and rides downtown. And then in the downtown district, Deku and Todoroki are like holding the shopping bags with a bunch of groceries, and Todoroki explains this is like a very busy shopping area, and then Bakugo's like complaining that he has to do random shopping during the internship. That was really funny. And then there's like a robbery at a bank, and the villains carry the suitcase with gems and they run away. And then Todoroki and Bakugo chase them. So this action scene is actually quite long. A lot of stuff happens. So there's like two villains that Todoroki and Bakugo are trying to catch. And then as they run away, this Rhodey takes their suitcase that the villains stole from the bank, and then Rhodey runs away, and then Deku runs after Rhodey. So then there's like three people who are chasing three people, and then during that, like it's just so much action going on. But they also combine CG to do some really really cool camera work for this scene. It actually looks really awesome. Like when Rhodey is running away on the rooftops, like the camera like does a 360 around him, and you can like, and then it like flips and everything. It was very very cool. I thoroughly enjoyed that part. And then there's also simultaneously as Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are running after these villains, and Deku's running after Rhodey. The guy with the eye patch in the beginning of the movie is like on a high speed chase on the highway. That's like he's being tailed by Betos. Betos is this lady. Let me show you guys. She's like an archer. So her fingers turn into her bow. So she goes like this, and then it becomes like the bow, and then she shoots her arrows that can track anyone's movements. So she's chasing the suitcase dude, and then she explodes the car, and then the suitcase so happens to fall out of the car, and then like for some reason Rhodey also at the same time drops the suitcase, and then so the suitcases get switched. Saddlezilla is a bow Lady Nagant. Yes, it's exactly a bow version of Lady Nagant. It's basically almost the same character. They even kind of look similar, except you never see Bedos's face. Oh, Yuki Hina 28. Thank you for explaining. So yeah, they intern for a week and they go back to school every day. So I think they they go back 2 to 3 times a week. It really makes no sense, the timeline. Because this happens, everything in this movie happens in a span of 2 nights. They sleep, yeah, like 2 nights. I would say a span of 2 days. That's like the movie's timeline. And given the Endeavor internship is only a week, you know, timeline is kind of weird. But anyway, so yeah, there's like a high-speed chase, and then they switch the suitcases, and like a shit ton of action happens, and then Deku drops in front of Rhodey, and Rhodey's surrounded by police, and the police said that he's like wanted, and then like Deku tells Rhodey like, oh, we gotta escape right now because like we're stuck, and the police are shooting at them, and then they escape. Oh yeah, there's a really funny scene where Deku chases Rhodey into a subway station, and then he's trying to bargain with Rhodey to get him to open the case. And Rhodey was like, I'll only do it if you pay me. And then Deku was like, how much? And he says it in like a really, really serious voice. And then Rhodey's like, 10,000 euros. And then Deku's like, that's too expensive. Like, it was so funny, because it was very like humor, like comedy, that part, because Deku is like so serious, but then it's like, that's too expensive. It was just, yeah, I thought it was really funny. I was laughing in the theater. Anyway, so like, yeah, after that part, they're escaping from the police, and during this time, Deku uses Black Whip in this movie a lot, and he pretty much like looks like he mastered Black Whip already. And it's very, very cool. Like, there's this scene where he and Rhodey are on the Golden Gate Bridge looking thing, and he basically is using, it's like, using Black Whip like Spider-Man. Isn't there a scene in one of the Spider-Man movies where he's like on the Golden Gate Bridge as well? Like, it's definitely a reference to it. But yeah, Bedos is like shooting at them during this scene, and eventually like Deku's grip on Rhodey loosens, and then he falls down, and then Deku dives to like save Rhodey, and they both fall into the water. And then after that, Barros can't fire her her arrows underwater, so then she retreats. Oh, the Brooklyn Bridge. Oh yeah, right. In New York, yes. But it's definitely like a direct reference. It looked very similar. So then after that, Endeavor receives word from Clairvoyance about what happened to Deku, and the news is shown throughout the world that Deku is wanted for mass murder. So basically, the connection is that the police was chasing the guy in with the eye patch with the suitcase, and then Rhodey gets the suitcase. So then the police started chasing Rhodey, and then Deku saves Rhodey with the suitcase, so they assume that Deku is actually the one who's the mass murder guy. But it's he was clearly framed for it though. So during this part, all of the interns see that Deku is apparently wanted for mass murder, and then Todoroki and Bakugo are watching the news and are like, what's going on? And then Todoroki said like, oh, I tried calling Deku, but he didn't pick up. And then as soon as he says that, he receives a call from Deku, and Deku says that he and this other guy got attacked by a villain, and they're currently in the middle of nowhere. And then Todoroki asks like, what the hell happened? He's wanted for murder. And Deku's like, oh, what? So, yeah, it was kind of funny. And then Todoroki says to Deku, like, you gotta run away. Take out the battery on your cell phone. Otherwise, the villains and the police can track you. Like, you just gotta run away. I thought it was so funny. So random. It's like Todoroki telling Deku to, like, be a criminal, just run away. And then All Might also sees the news and is like, what is going on? And then it cuts to Cairo, where Kaminari is like, no, there must be a mistake. And then Ochako and Tsuyu, and they're all watching the news as well. And Ochako says she doesn't believe it, that Deku is wanted for mass murder. And then Tsuyu says there definitely is some ulterior motive. Yeah, like he was framed. And then Ryukyu says it's all right because Endeavor can definitely help. And after that, so back to Rhodey and Deku. So Rhodey gets really pissed that he's like a wanted criminal now, because apparently he's an accomplice in this mass murder framing. And then he says that they should just like give up and give the suitcase to the police. But Deku says like it's not a good idea. They should probably just for now run away. And like keep a low profile. So then Rhodey gets disguises for them. Deku wears a beige fisherman hat. Like he wears like the hat really down to his like eyes, so you can't really see his face. And then he's wearing like brown overalls and a like light green polo button shirt. And then Rhodey is wearing a hoodie, a white hoodie, and cargo. Oops, I wrote cargo shirts, but it should be cargo pants. And then they like this whole segment is such a long road trip, like criminals like Thelma and Louise, like they're like running away from the police, and they, you know, like have a bonding moments and stuff while they're on the road. It's like a really, really classic road movie. That is the like basis of this movie. It's just everything, like from aside from the beginning where Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are infiltrating Humorize with their stealth suits on. Aside from that part, and aside from the part where they were shopping at the Otheon shopping district, everything else is like just road trip, Rhodey and Deku only running away from the police. It's very, very relaxing almost. You get to like really know more about Rhodey as a character, and also Deku has really good moments too where like he reflects on the different events that he experienced throughout UA Academy. So it's like a very good like slice of life segment. So this part, like, yeah, they're on top of the bus, and then they, Deku wants to pay, so he like uses his air smash to like make sure that he can pay through like getting the coin into the coin slot. And then meanwhile, Endeavor is like at the Otheon police headquarters, and he's like talking to the police chief like, oh, you got to drop these charges because my intern is clearly not guilty. And then the police chief is like, oh, well, you know, we're just gonna keep on pressing because we don't have evidence. And then Endeavor is really mad, and it turns out that the policeman is actually part of Humorize, so that's why they're trying to like put the charge on Deku. And then Todoroki and Bakugo are waiting at the Endeavor Pro Hero area. Todoroki mentions that the guy who got caught in the car chase is unconscious right now, but he was also from Humorize, so he would have leads, but since he's unconscious, there's no way that they can question him. And then he gets a text from Deku that says, when it's dark, there's strawberries in the fridge, and it was actually a code that if you take like the first hiragana of each like the text message is in a box, like a, you know, like a box, and if you take the first columns hiragana, it's spelled out Clade country. So Deku and Rhodey escaped to Clade country, so Todoroki knows that they're there, and then so he grabs Bakugo by the arm and says like, hey, we gotta go find Deku. And then Bakugo says like, oh, don't tell me what to do, but he still follows him anyway. And then we cut back to Deku and Rhodey get off the bus at a random neighborhood, and Rhodey's trying to call his siblings to tell them that he won't be able to go home, and he tells Stanley to do it, but Stanley's like, no, you're wanted for murder, dude, like I'm not gonna do this. And so Rhodey gets mad. And then the scene cuts to Todoroki and Bakugo riding a train, so they're also heading to Clade country, and they're wearing like super casual clothes. Todoroki's wearing a blue shirt, black pants, and like white gray shoes. Bakugo's wearing a black outer dress shirt and like an inner gray shirt, red pants, and orange black shoes, and they're just like very casual. And they're in those clothes for like the middle part of the movie. And then it cuts back again to Deku and Rhodey, and they find like a little deserted barn where they fall asleep. And then you learn about Rhodey's past through a flashback. So yeah, his family was very rich, but Rhodey always liked airplanes. He actually wanted to be a pilot, apparently. His father was an engineer. They owned a huge mansion. The mom died during childbirth after his sister was born, his youngest sibling. And then there's like a very foreshadow scene where Rhodey is like solving this weird puzzle that his dad gave him, and his dad helps him with the puzzle, and then when he solves a puzzle, like there's a locket that falls out, and he wears that locket and has it with him all the time. But anyway, so then suddenly, like in the flashback, his father disappeared, and there are rumors that his father went to join Humorize. So then Rhodey and his siblings had to fend for themselves. So they lost the house. They had to move to a kind of rundown place, and yeah, it's very sad. Like his background story is quite depressing, but he says like, oh, it doesn't really matter, like I just, you know, want to take care of my siblings, that's like my goal in life. So he decides to turn himself in and give the suitcase back. So when Deku is sleeping in the barn, Rhodey takes the suitcase and meets up with the villains, but the bird, Pino, tries to stop him. But he still goes anyway, and the humorized villain comes and tries to take the suitcase, but then the bird wakes up Deku, so Deku goes and helps Rhodey because the villain was going to attack him. And then there's this one part where Beros is back. She shoots an arrow at Rhodey, and then Deku literally throws himself in front of Rhodey and gets shot. It was so dramatic. I was like, oh my god. And there's like blood everywhere. It was crazy. There's like so much blood in this movie. I wonder if it's supposed to like foreshadow the paranormal war arc, Liberation Army war arc, because it's really violent. But yeah, so Deku saves Rhodey, but luckily the arrow hits the smartphone in his pocket. That's why he's wearing overalls. It's like, you know, plot reasons. And so the cell phone is dead, but at least Deku was okay, but he still is bleeding a lot. So they seek refuge in a cave nearby. Deku patches himself up, and they sit by a fireplace. And then they like talk about like Deku talks about why he's a hero, why, like Rhodey asks, why did you save me? And then Deku says like he wants to be like All Might, he wants to save people when they're in a pinch. And then Rhodey says like he's very different because for him, like all he needs to do is take care of his siblings. But yeah, there's like flashback that happens here briefly of Deku like reminiscing of his different like experiences throughout UA Academy. And Rhodey looks like Deku's words touched him, and then they finally introduce each other as like Deku's like, my name is Midoriya Izuku, but my hero name is Deku. And then Rhodey was like, oh, my name is Rhodey, and he's like, oh, Deku is a very easy to remember name, so they call each other that. And after that part, yeah, Rhodey jump starts a car that he borrows. He leaves a note like on the barn saying like, oh, I'll bring it back. And then he like apparently can drive a car. So they're driving a car, and Rhodey's explaining about his past a little bit more. And his mom died when his sister was born. Dad disappeared with Humorize. Yeah, so he's taking care of his siblings. And so this is a part where the Asian Kung Fu Generation's second song, Flower, plays. It's like a good 5 to 6 minutes of just like montage. It's literally, this movie should be called like Deku and Rhodey's road trip. Like, any of you guys in chat, did you guys watch the movie today? Because like for me, I thought it was like pretty much just a road trip movie with like some action at the end and some action like in the beginning, but throughout the middle like chunk of the movie, it's literally just Deku Rhodey on a road trip. But yeah, so like the montage is about, I think it's like almost the entire duration of the song. It's a very beautiful montage. They have like scenery of Otheon. It's like very, very like colorful and a lot of nature and so forth. But yeah, so that's like around 5-6 minutes, and then when they get to Humorize, that's where finally Todoroki and Bakugo meet up with them. Crazy Boy, My Hero Academia, World's Most Wanted. Honestly, like, this movie, it says World Heroes. I get that because they show very briefly, like, heroes showing up here and there, but it's so, like, so minimal compared to the actual chunk of the movie. Did we get to see Ryukyu's dragon form? I think she did transform into a dragon at the end, but like not much action though. Setsuna has, she does use her quirk like midway through, where Yayorozu asked Setsuna to like bring these things that she created to the different like heroes. It's super brief though. It's like no more than a minute or two. Anyway, so then when they finally get to this Humorize part, Todoroki and Bakugo are still wearing their casual clothes, and then now they have to fight Humorize, and Bakugo propels himself onto the top of the helicopter that Barros is in, and like she's trying to fight them, but I guess like I don't really know if it's implied that she committed suicide, but she just like gave a final oath, and then she just jumps out of the helicopter. And then right after that, Bakugo explodes the helicopter, and you don't see Beros anymore after this scene. So I was like, that's pretty violent. Yeah, this movie has a lot of violent moments. So then after a very, very like intense action sequence, they see that there's a thing sticking out of the metal suitcase, and it turns out that it's a puzzle that Rhodey's dad just so happens to have given him when he was a child. So he's able to fix or solve the puzzle, and then there's a SD card and a key that pops out. And during this, Humorize decides to carry through with the bomb plan. So they make a statement throughout the world saying that they're going to start the bombs and it will set off in 2 hours. So all of the different cities, pro heroes and hero interns are like scrambling to try to find where the bombs are, and the citizens of each city are also freaking out. So there's like a lot of mayhem, and yeah, Kirishima, Tetsu, Amajiki are clearing out like the path of the citizens in Shibuya, and they're looking for the bombs or like moving cars, and Judo and Shoji are listening to instructions from the Hero Association, and also listening to like any kind of like anomalies where it could be like the sound of a bomb ticking or whatever. And then in Paris, like Ochako and Ryukyu's team are also looking for the bombs, trying to calm people down. And then Hawks and Tokoyami are also in New York looking for where possible places that the bomb might be. And then Yayorozu and Setsuna are also helping out in Singapore, and in Cairo they're also doing the same thing. So like during this part, it's just like all of the characters that are in their interns around the world, they're all doing like the same thing. They're just trying to look for the bomb, trying to make sure the citizens are not freaking out. Blood chronism. If I had a penny every time Jiro and Shoji did nothing but scouting. Like throughout this movie, Judo and Shoji are like they're stationed in like one area on a rooftop, and all they're doing is listening to like to vibrations and like making sure that there's nothing like weird going on, or listening to the Hero Association's instructions. They don't really do much action, but they're like helping like survey everything. But then it then cuts back to Clade Country, and Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, and Rhodey are in a waiting room, and they're using a computer to open the contents of the SD card. And there's so much data in the SD card. And this part's actually really funny because Deku's like, "Oh my gosh, there's so much data. What should we do?" And then Bakugo's like, "Oh my god, let me do this." And then so he like pushes Deku and is like, "Let me see." And then he's like, "All you need to do is look at the timestamp." I thought that was super funny. So like they find that the recent timestamp, the most recent one, is like a video, and the video is a recording of the guy with the eye patch, saying that like he really hopes that whoever sees this video can help stop Humorize, because Humorize wants to cleanse the world of quirks. And the suitcase that the guy stole has a key to stop the bombs. So that's why he's in the video. The guy's like, please save the world. So yeah, so they do that, and they watch the video, and then Bakugo is able to find where the headquarters of Humorize is. And this part's another funny part where it's like, it's 400 kilometers away, and then Rhodey is like, "Oh, it's okay," and then he just like borrows a plane. It's like, what the hell? Just so conveniently borrows a plane, and then they fly it to the location. I don't really know how old Rhodey is supposed to be. Let me actually check if it's written here. Because, like, how old do you have to be to fly a plane? I feel like you have to be at least, like, 20 or something, right? It says his birthday is February 13th, but it doesn't show his age. But yeah, he can drive a car, he can fly an airplane, like, I don't even know, like, what the age limit is for, like America to fly an airplane, let alone in Japan. But since this guy lives in some European-ish country or Australia, I don't know like what kind of rules they decided on, but anyway, he can fly an airplane, so he flies them to the headquarters of Humorize, and Deku, Bakugo, Todoroki, for some reason, are just wearing their normal hero clothes. They could have totally worn their stealth clothes, but they didn't, which I have no idea why. Like, why would you market this movie with these super cool clothes and only have it appear for 5 minutes? It makes no sense. I honestly do not understand why they did not wear their new clothes. Like, they could have totally done that and it would change nothing. Like, it's not like the clothes gave them a power-up or anything. So I am, like, very, very confused why they were just wearing their normal clothes here. But anyway, they wear their normal clothes, and then they go and fight Humorize. So this whole scene, this whole part is, like, really, really intense. So starting from this segment, when they get to the Humorize headquarters, it's like nonstop action over, like, one after another. So first it's Bakugo is fighting like these twins, the Serpenters, and then Todoroki is fighting that Leviathan villain, and then Deku is fighting Flecked. What's the guy's name? Fleckturn, I think. Fleckturn, the Humorized dude. And so, like, it starts off with like Todoroki helps Deku, like, in I don't remember if they actually break the entrance, but like Todoroki uses his ice to create like a big wall and then like a path for them to go through the entrance, and then Deku uses like One for All, and it's a really cool like sequence where they like rush forward, lot of action, and then when they get to the Humorize building, more like villains come, and then Todoroki's like, "Oh, Deku, you just go forward, and then I'll take care of the other villains." And so yeah, when Bakugo is fighting these twins, it like Um, this scene that happens in chapter 285, there's a part in the movie that looks exactly like this. And I'm like, why do they even need to do that? Like, it was gonna happen in the manga, and it's gonna happen in the anime eventually. Like, they had no reason to show exactly this. It's almost in the exact same position too. He gets stabbed through his chest and his like arm, and throughout Bakugo's fight with the twins, there's like so much blood that like he's bleeding a lot, and his clothes and his mask get torn up. And yeah, it's like a lot of blood. I really don't understand the like reasoning to like, I guess whoever is a manga reader will be like, oh shit, that's from like, you know, chapter 285, but it's so random. Like I guess they wanted shock factor, but it's like, if you watch this movie and then you watch the anime when this actually happens, like it won't feel as like shocking, because it's like, oh yeah, Bakugo got stabbed before, you know. It's very strange production decision. But anyway, his fight is really awesome though. His fight's actually like one of the more well, I mean, they're actually all awesome. Bakugo, Todoroki, and Deku's fights are all like, they have their own really cool scenes. But Bakugo's one for sure had the most blood. And so yeah, he gets stabbed, and then he survives all of this. He does this one thing where he like takes his little grenades and plants them around like a pillar, and then it destroys the pillar, and it crushes the twins, but then they use a boost that makes their quirk go crazy, and then Bakugo like literally looks like he's exhausted. He's like looking like, oh shit, not again. Like his face, it was like, oh my god. Like that. But then after that, it goes to Deku approaching the main villain, Fleck's turn. So this villain Fleck, I personally think he's kind of a whatever villain. Like the reason why he wants to destroy quirks is literally because no one could like touch him. Like he's what is it called, like touch starved or whatever, because like his quirk is reflect. So if anyone ever touches him, it like reflects their quirk back at them, or like it hurts them. So like for example, when Deku is fighting Fleck, everything he uses with One for All reflects back to Deku. So it actually like, you know, it's very, very detrimental. So Fleck's entire thing is that he just like never had any love. Like no one could ever like, you know, like hold him or hug him or anything because of his quirk, and because he thinks that like you know, he gets no love from anyone, he wants to destroy quirks. So yeah, I don't know, I think that's kind of a stupid reason, but yeah, that's the villain. Anyway, so Deku's trying to fight him, and during this part there's a bunch of so like Fleck is in the control room, and it's kind of weird that he also has TVs set up of everyone's interns in different cities as well for some reason, and the TVs that he sees is like the same kind of TVs that the Hero Association's control room is seeing, which is kind of weird. But yeah, he sees like everyone in like Paris, Tokyo, Cairo, and whatnot. And then Deku can also see everyone's like, you know, doing their best, and he like, Deku's fighting Fleck, but he kind of gets hurt by Fleck. And then he looks on the screen and it's like saying everyone's names, like in Cairo and Tokyo and Paris and whatnot. And he's like, oh, everyone's doing their best, so I need to do my best too. You know, I want to protect everyone's smiles. So Deku's thinking like, oh, how can I win? How can I win? So so Deku gets up and like he's like staggering towards the villain, but clearly you can see that he's really tired. So he's about to fall over, but then Rhodey appears out of nowhere and then catches him by the waist before he falls onto the floor. And then Deku's like, "Oh, Rhodey, you're here." And Rhodey's like, "Oh, yeah, I gotta finish this because like the reason, you know, why this even happened is because Humor Eyes asked my father to make these bombs." So I think either they hinted at it or I just missed it when I was watching it, that I'm pretty sure his father got killed by Humor Eyes after he made the bombs, because his father was like an engineer, so Humor Eyes needed him to like make these things for them. And you don't see the father at all, so I assume that Humor Eyes killed him. So Rhodey's like, yeah, it's up to me to, you know, to stop this. And then Rhodey approaches the villain, and then in the previous battle with Deku, the villain explains about the quirk that I was mentioning, that he like didn't, you know, have any love when he was a kid, so that's why he grew up to hate quirks. And then the villain says like, "Oh, you and I," referring to Rhodey, "are quite similar because they have stuff they want to protect." The villain wants to protect the purity of the world, which I again think is kind of a stupid reason. It's one of the like least like, I don't know, interesting, compelling reasons for a villain to want to do what they're doing. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but like I thought it could have been more stakes. But yeah, Fleck was kind of a really random villain. But anyway, so Rhodey looks like he's going to give the key to Flex. But at the end, he like flicks it like that into the air, and then the bird Pino catches it, and Fleck gets really mad, and then he uses lasers to shoot at Rhodey, and it literally like the lasers looks like it's shooting through his heart. So I honestly thought he was gonna die. But he doesn't, because, you know, this is a shonen, and he starts bleeding profusely though. And then there's like a flashback randomly where he tells Deku what his quirk is. And apparently Rhodey's quirk is the bird is his quirk. So the bird is a personification of his inner thoughts, like his true feelings is the bird. So the bird, like, because the bird exists, he can't really lie because a bird gives away his feelings. So, yeah, that's Rhodey's quirk. So while that's happening, we go back to Bakugo and his battle with the villains. And they like keep attacking him, and his eyes are bloodshot. Like he just looks like a mess. Like they really tortured like Bakugo in this fight. Like he's bleeding everywhere. His eyes are bleeding. Like his right eye was completely red, and like his gauntlets are gone. Like his shirt is tattered, and like. At the end, he creates this like whirlwind of explosions, and then he uses his bomb explosion quirk to like destroy the building and crush the villains. I assume the villains died, but you don't really see their bodies or anything. But yeah, it's intense and crazy. I think someone in chat just now asked like, was Bakugo no clothes? Like yeah, at the end, like because he is like fighting these villains with these blades or whatever, like he ends up like he's just wearing pants. Like he has no hero costume. He doesn't even have his mask anymore because he got wrecked. Like the villains literally like destroyed everything that he was wearing. It was crazy, even his gauntlets. So meanwhile, Todoroki, on the other hand, is fending off the villain underwater. So they fell into a river, and Todoroki's losing consciousness, and then he sees the river rushing out of a cliff, and then they fall out of the river together into a waterfall, and then Todoroki uses this opportunity to use like some crazy attack. This part was like the Nakamura thing where it's like it was insane. Like I was like, holy shit, this animation is amazing. It's like Todoroki used his fire to envelop the Leviathan villain, but then the Leviathan villain took the fire and created like an illusion or something of his head swallowing Todoroki, and then Todoroki does some crazy like ice fire thingy where he pretty much like punches a hole in the villain's heart, and it looks, I guess he killed the villain. It was like really, really intense, and like so much Nakamura in that battle. So yeah, that happened. Marius No Mercy, you asked, can you elaborate on this thumbs down gesture? I actually like didn't really catch that. I don't really know. Is that supposed to be a reference to something? I mentioned it earlier in this stream, but like Bakugo at the end of his battle, he does like crouch down like that. But I did not catch the thumbs down thing. I have to watch this movie again to like get to see if it's a reference. Maybe it's a reference to another shonen or something. I don't know. Maybe I can like research it, see what Japanese fans are saying. Might be a reference to another shonen though. Like I don't know, One Piece or something. I don't know. But I'll look into it though. Oh, you did thumbs down before in the sports fest. Yeah, I can't remember what he says at the end. Because I think maybe what he says is a reference to something. Yeah, I can't remember. But I'll look into it. That is very interesting. I'll check it out. So anyway, we go back to, after Todoroki's fight, we go back to Deku fighting the villain, and Rody is like bleeding profusely, but he's still like slowly going to the control room section to put in the key. And like he's leaning on the, like he's walking like this leaning on the wall, and he has like huge streaks of blood like everywhere. He like his footsteps and the wall is just like so much blood. I'm very surprised that this movie had this much blood. And then after that we go to like really short segments of like Cairo and Tokyo, Paris, Singapore again. So Endeavor and everyone is trying to find the bombs now. So they were able to clear all of the citizens, but like because they're trying to find the bombs, Humorize is like appearing in every city trying to fight the heroes, and Endeavor's team finds the bomb and is trying to like fly the bomb away, and then Shoji and Jiro are still listening. Like they're still on the rooftop listening for like, you know, bombs or something like different that they can tell Fat Gum, like. And then I think Shoji is the one that's like, oh, there's 2 bombs or 3 bombs left. And then after that, you see Kirishima. He's like, oh, I'm not going to give up. Isn't that right, Bakugo? And then you see in Paris where Tsuyu is like fighting. And then Tsuyu is like, oh, Ochako, we need to get the bomb. And then Ochako, like, she like uses zero gravity on herself to try to like propel the bomb away. It's kind of like what Endeavor did. Like Endeavor looked like he was going to fly away with the bomb and just like detonate with the bomb. It was really intense. And then like Ochako kind of does something similar, and it's like she says like, oh, I'll never give up, just like Deku. And then you cut to Kaminari is fighting villains alongside Mineta and Seto, and they're like, oh, like Deku will never give up, so we won't give up either. And then the scene cuts to Yayorozu, and then Yayorozu and Setsuna are also saying like, oh, we'll never give up. So it's like really cheesy. It's like they're all just saying, you know, we'll never give up, we're heroes, we're gonna do what we need to do. And then Deku sees all of his friends in the control room in the Humorize headquarters, and he's like, "Oh yeah." He has like a monologue to Flecht, and he says, "Oh, heroes, we never give up. That's why we're heroes." And then Deku can see that Flecht is already like looking kind of worn down. He's like kind of getting tired too because they've been fighting all day. And then now this is a scene where it's like insanely, like, all the budget went to this like 3 minutes of insane action sequence. It basically looked like, if you guys watch Heroes Rising, it was like that, but instead of Bakugo and Deku, it's just Deku himself. It looked a lot like also the Overhaul final battle, but like even crazier. Yeah, this was another moment where you're watching the movie and you're like, oh shit, like that's crazy. Like your mouth just drops open and you're in awe because the animation is so good. Like I remember when I looked around during the scene, everyone was like, I mean, we're all wearing masks, but everyone is just like stunned. It was so good. There's this one scene where Deku like does this like weird quirk thing and he like multiplies and it looks like he goes into like a different dimension. It's insane. I think if you like action, that's the climax fight alone will be worth it. Like it's so good. Do you remember any of Deku's moves? He does this like One Punch Man move thingy, and then his finishing move is the United States of Smash. So there's this one part where he's like punching like hundreds of times, and each time he punches, his like the animation shows like his punch is like like I don't know how to, like, it's like I don't know how to like how to explain it. It looks like this kind of, except like transparent. It's crazy. It's all, it seems like it's all hand drawn too. But it's like hundreds of punches and then they like all attack Flecht at the same time. It was honestly like amazing. Like that Deku's fight scene blew my mind. It was awesome. But I did write though that the fight scene in Heroes Rising though was definitely longer and much more epic. But Deku's fight scene for this movie was super, super amazing. But yeah, he did United States of Smash. Did he not do that in the manga yet, or in the anime yet up until now? Because when he says his final attack, I'm pretty sure it's United States of Smash. Let me just double check in the light novel. It's definitely something Smash, but let's see, where is it? Like when I was writing the summary, any part that I was like, oh shit, I don't remember what exactly happened, I just referred to the light novel because it clearly writes everything here. Okay, let's see. Trying to look for the exact location. But yeah, when you're like reading it, it does not do the story justice. Like watching it was like crazy. Oh yeah. Yeah. He does United States of Smash. Yeah. Because he's thinking about All Might when he does this, and then like he activates One for All, and then his finishing blow is United States of Smash. It's on this page 210 in the light novel. So I guess he used it, even though he hasn't used it in the manga up until this point yet. Wait, has he even used it in the manga at all? Because if not, then that kind of sucks. So anyway, so he uses the United States of Smash, and then he lands a finishing blow on the villain, and then he's running to the control room because he's like, oh shit, I have 10 seconds to stop the bomb. And as he runs, you can see All Might watching, like it's kind of like a montage of All Might watching from the Heroes Association room, and then Bakugo is unconscious, Todoroki's unconscious, and then as the time runs out, you see suddenly like Endeavor, who is in midair, like the bomb is in his arms and it stops and it doesn't detonate. And then it cuts back to Deku in the control room, and he sees that the person who stopped the bomb is not Rhodey, but his bird. Like, it's so anticlimactic. Like, when I watched that, I was like, are you serious? The bird saves the day? Like, of all people, it's the bird that saves the world. Yeah, so that's why I wrote yesterday, after I read the light novel, not to like, you know, spoil or anything, but I wrote that Rhodey and his bird is super important because his bird actually saved the world at the last minute. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, so then after that, yeah, Rhodey, Deku goes back to see Rhodey, because like Rhodey is right at the control panel, but he couldn't reach the key. But good thing the bird was able to fly, and you can see the bird like on the key area. And he's like, the bird is also passed out. So then Deku holds Rhodey, and like, because Rhodey's on the floor, so Deku's like, oh, Rhodey, are you okay, man? And then Rhodey's like bleeding out, and then Deku's like, oh, don't worry, like help is on the way. And then Deku like takes Rhodey's hand, and then Rhodey is like, did we do it? Did we save the world? And then Deku's like, yeah, you did, you and the bird. And then Rhodey is like, oh, I guess I'm kind of cool then, huh? It's supposed to be like a very, very bittersweet moment. And then like Deku's crying and they're laughing together, and it's like very, very like a good denouement from the climax. And then after that, it shows scenes from around the world. Again, like showing Himurai's getting arrested. You see Bakugo and Todoroki on a cot getting blood transfusions, and then you see Ojiro and Sato with Tokoyami and Hawks. They were in America apparently, and then the scene cuts to the heroes in Egypt and Singapore, and then you see Rhodey and Deku in the hospital together, and then Bakugo's bed is across from Deku, and he's getting like treatment from Recovery Girl, and then Todoroki is already kind of recovered, but he's standing next to the window next to everyone. And then after that, it cuts to a scene where Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are at the airport, and Rhodey comes to see them off, and you see Burnin in her casual clothes, and I was like, oh my god, she's not wearing her mask. She's so pretty. I wrote that in my notes. Yeah, she looks really great. And she... Endeavor, Bakugo, and Todoroki are like going up the escalator to go to their boarding lounge or whatever, but Deku stays behind to talk to Rhodey, and then Rhodey thanks him, and the bird is like crying, so which means that inside Rhodey is like crying, and then they hug it out. Deku gives Rhodey a big hug, and Rhodey hugs him back, and then Rhodey says to Deku like, oh man, don't come back here. But he's like saying it in a joking way, because the camera turns to show his face, and he's smiling, and he has like tears in his eyes. So at the end, that's actually like the end of the movie. So the scenes here, it's kind of like post like around the for the credits. So it shows like Rhodey goes to Stanley's bar to actually work, find a job this time, and then there's also a montage of the kids going back to the UA dorms, and Ida, Ashido, Aoyama, Hagakure, and Koda welcome them home, and Ida like is chatting with Deku and Ochako, and then Ashido is chatting with Mineta, Yayoro, Sujiro, and Hagakure is hanging out with Ojiro, Sato, Todoroki, Tokuyami, and Koda, and then Kirishima is pushing Bakugo and grouping with Kaminari and Seto, and then Mirio has his arms like he's like has his arms around Nejire and Tamaki, like, oh, you guys did so well, like that. And then Aizawa is with Cementos and Present Mike, and then there's like this really cool scene where Deku and All Might are shaking hands underneath like the moonlight outside. It's very pretty. And then the last montage is of Rhodey now studying to be a proper pilot, and it shows his siblings going to school now, which is kind of cute, you know, they have progress. And then the last scene is of the locket that Rhodey has of him and his siblings, and they share a bed together, and then next to the bed is a bunch of children's drawings, and the kids drew Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki in a very cute like kids drawing way, and the movie ends on that frame just of Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki drawn as kids, drawn by kids, I mean. And that's it. That's the movie. So yeah, what did you guys think? Writing it took a long time, but also explaining it took almost as long. Yeah, I think, like I said earlier in this stream, it's a movie that, like, it's a feel-good movie, slice of life with a lot of action, but it was not necessary. I don't think this movie like is something that needed to happen, especially not during these COVID times. But you know, it's I guess if they wanted it to happen, then they made it happen. So quality wise, it's still really good. Voice recording is great. Like you can't tell that, you know, there's much impact from COVID with this movie. But the only thing that I thought was lacking was the plot. It was just like a lot of focus on Rhodey, a lot of focus on a character that I don't think will come back into the manga. If he does, maybe like really, really briefly, but like you basically like learn about his entire life. Seb TH, how would you rank the 3 so far? I think Heroes Rising is definitely the best in terms of production, animation, like all of the Class A members are in it, so they all have like a time to shine. I think Heroes Rising definitely was the best movie, and then 2 Heroes after that, and then World Heroes Mission. I mean, World Heroes Mission was a really fun movie and had a lot of cool action scenes, but the plot was just kind of like, a little lacking for me. Crazy Boy for Life. What's really lacking is the stealth suits. Oh my gosh, I'm so bummed that the stealth suits only pop up for literally like 5 seconds. Even in this picture, if you guys can see, like the building, like they're in Otheon wearing these suits, but they're never wearing these suits in the actual movie in Otheon. Will I watch it again? I think I'll watch it again, because when I was watching it today earlier in the morning, I couldn't, like, you know, put 100% focus because I was also taking notes. Usually I watch movies twice if I am going to be like translating or summarizing it. I watch it first while taking notes, and then I watch it again to make sure that I didn't miss anything. But because of COVID, right now it's kind of like risky to, you know, spend too much time in a theater and an enclosed space with so many people. So today I only watched it once, but I probably will watch it again, just like on a leisurely pace. It's fun, but it wasn't worth messing. Oh yeah, messing season 5 pace for it. Yeah, definitely. Like I don't see the point of it connecting with the Endeavor Agency internship, especially when the other characters only appear for like a couple of seconds, and the main like bulk of this story is focused on Rhodey. So like, what was the point of you know, like changing the My Villain Academia like pacing for this movie? I don't really see a point of it. So I was kind of like, after I watched it, I watched it with my fiance, and I was like, how did you like it? And he's like, it was all right. And I was like, yeah, it was okay. Do you think they rearranged season 5 for the movie? Well, I know generally movies take at least 9 months to create, right? So I don't know. I think they have maybe different teams doing this. Maybe internal production issues we might not know about. Yeah, that's true. It could be something that like, you know, maybe they had some epic plan with the other characters, or like focusing more on actual, you know, like Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki with Hawks, or Todoroki with Endeavor. Like how they marketed, but maybe something came up in the middle where they had to change their plans. Like, you know, who knows? Marius, are Japanese fans happy with it? I think so. Like today, a lot of My Hero Academia tags like were trending. I mean, you can see right now over here, it says what's happening. Katchan is trending. Hiroaka is trending. So also today they broadcasted the 2 heroes on TV, like on national, or like, you know, yeah, national TV, so anyone can watch it. So I guess that's why it's trending. But yeah, I was kind of briefly reading Japanese fans like reviews or their comments, and it's, yeah, generally positive. So I think they're happy with it. I just personally think it was a really fun movie, but I don't think we really needed it. At least not right now. But yeah, so if anyone has questions, I guess I can dedicate like the next 10 to 15 minutes answering anyone's questions. So let me know in the chat if you have any like specific questions that you want to know about the movie, or about the Hero Academia manga. I have all of my resources here so I can help explain it. But yeah, it was a fun movie all in all. I enjoyed it. I just am kind of confused why I was so focused on Rhodey. But he's a good character, so you do feel for him. Is a manga just a retelling of the film? Oh yeah. Oh right. We actually didn't really talk about the manga. The part where it's Horikoshi drew this manga to tie into the actual manga itself, where basically like Todoroki is telling Deku's nervous, and Todoroki's trying to calm him down, and like he says like, oh, you have to write like the kanji for a person on your hand and then eat it to like calm your nerves, and then Bakugo tries doing that too, but he's like super extra and he like explodes it, and the rest of this 9-page manga drawn by Horikoshi is like Hawks turns up and it's like, oh hey guys, and then like Deku's like, oh, hawks, and then someone in the airport is like, hawks, wait, what? And then there's all these like fans that come and swarm him. It's hilarious. And then after that, Endeavor gives them their tickets, and Deku is supposed to sit with Bakugo because Endeavor wants to sit with Todoroki. And then Todoroki's like, I don't want to sit with you, which is super funny. And then Deku like makes these really funny comments as they are trying to like argue with who gets to sit where. And then Hawks comes back and is like, okay, you guys just choose a ticket from my hand, and that's how you guys will figure out who to sit next to. So the seating arrangement becomes like Bakugo is with Endeavor and Deku is with Todoroki, and they are all happy though because Bakugo wants to ask Endeavor about more of his like quirk and how to control his power. And Todoroki is like, oh, thank God, like I don't need to talk to my dad. And then Deku's like, oh, thank God they're not like fighting anymore. And it's just funny because Hawks like gets noticed again, and then the fans come and like whisk him away. And then yeah, Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki go on the plane, and then they land in Otheon, and then you see Rhodey looking up at an airplane, and that's the end of the manga. It's quite short, but it's supposed to tie into the movie, tie in from the actual manga story into the movie. Scarillion, what character viewpoints on the quirk singularity concept? I don't think that's talked about in this movie. The villain just wants to get rid of quirks. Like, he's just like, oh, I hate quirks because of quirks I receive no love. So Crazy Boy for Life, what do Fleck, Turn, and Overhaul have in common? They both high on drugs, but I don't think Fleck actually was using any boosting. Oh, maybe he did. I don't quite remember. Is it true that Bakugo's chest got an upgrade? I didn't really look at anything, like, it didn't look different to me. It just, looks like how he's usually drawn. Just, yeah, at the end of his fight, he like the villains destroy his costume, so he like stands with just his hero pants, shirtless, but just looks normal, except he has a shit ton of blood and like slashes all over him. But yeah, I'm sure that this movie will be in theaters in the West soon as well. I mean, I don't know how soon, but like probably within the next 6 months or so. So if you guys are interested in watching it, I do recommend watching it if you are a My Hero Academia fan. You can tell Horikoshi didn't write the movie because the villain was so lame. Yeah, the villain was just not that compelling for me. Actually, hold on, my camera froze for a second. Let me fix this. There you go. There's actually a interview with the director of the movie. I should probably read through it because probably it'll explain how much Horikoshi's involvement was. I know that Kuroda, he usually writes, he's a screenwriter all the time. So he's the one who wrote the movie. Here we go. Let me see. Oh, I'm like briefly reading it, and it does say that like Horikoshi, they consulted with him on like what kind of like elements to put in this movie, and for this one, for the first one and the second one, it kind of took place on islands, but this one, the third one, they wanted it in like a world platform, so they decided to make the world itself the base of the movie. Oh yeah, this is actually quite an interesting interview. The one by Kuroda. I'll probably translate a couple of parts of it. And if it shows how much of Horikoshi's involvement was, I will definitely post that as well. Yeah, this is within the pamphlet of the movie. Very interesting. Wax Team, could you explain the whole thing with the suitcases and the police? So basically, like, the police were in were working for Humorize. So they wanted to get the suitcase from the eye patch guy who ran away from Humorize. But within that, I don't think, like, I don't really know if there was a specific point to frame Deku per se, but like they just wanted to frame or they just wanted to catch whoever had the suitcase, because they wanted the suitcase back, because if the suitcase fell into the wrong hands, then that person would have the key to stop the bombs. So that's why Humorize was like frantically trying to get the suitcase back. That's the reason why Bedos, the girl who's the Arrow villain, she was like trying to chase after Deku and Rhodey throughout the entire movie. So that's kind of like the reason why they were on the run. Well, I don't actually remember Deku's reasoning for running away. It's just, he was just like, oh, right now we're like wanted, so we should like have a low profile. But I have to watch it again to like see if there's a specific reason why they had to run away instead of turn themselves in. I think it had something to do with like when Endeavor went and checked the oh, but then they didn't talk to Todoroki, didn't talk to Deku then. Yeah, I have to watch it again to see to confirm what exactly was like Deku's motivation or decision making. But for on the police side, they're just working for Humorize. So a lot of people hate Nine. I mean, he was an okay villain, I think. At least he, you know, he actually is in the manga, right? I don't think this Fleck dude is going to be in the manga. If he does, it will be probably like Rhodey, a very short cameo. Yeah, this movie's villains were kind of, aside from Bedos was actually quite terrifying. The other villains were kind of whatever. Chimera has a similar villain in this movie called Leviathan. They're both like very difficult to fight, and Todoroki fights both of them as well. So yeah, Fleckturn was kind of like whatever. But yes, if anyone else has questions, let me know. If not, I'll probably finish the stream in about five minutes or so. Well, I can't believe I've been talking about this for like 2 hours already. It's a lot of content. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my stream today and also tuning in to my tweets throughout the entire day. It was very, very hectic day to watch the movie, frantically write down notes, tweet it, and then also translate like the other content. But it was fun, so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Any Fat Gum being a dad moment in the movie? Fat Gum does, like, he was the main pro hero that dispatched like Kirishima, Tetsu, Amajiki, and told Jiro and Shoji what to do. He, as well as President Mike and Cementos. He wasn't like really like a dad, but he was, you know, like he was in charge, I guess. Since they didn't show Betos dying, do you think Horikoshi might include her in the main manga? I don't know. She's very similar to Lady Nagant. I don't think that they would have her just because she's so similar. But if they did, I would be down for it. She was a very interesting character. She was like the best villain, even better than this Reflect dude. But yeah, like I have one more thing here. This is actually like the trailer itself. So like this scene happens in like the beginning. Just wanted to quickly go through it. And then this happens also in the beginning. This happens this scene happens this scene happens where they're hacking the computer, the SD card. This is also like in the beginning. This happens also in the beginning of the movie. And this happens kind of midway in the movie when Deku is, or actually in the beginning of the movie, in the first like 20 minutes where Deku's, is wanted for murder. This is a scene where Bakugo and Todoroki are in the train going to Clade Country to meet up with Deku. And then this, I think this tunnel scene happens in Humorize's headquarters. Oh, yeah, I actually don't remember. Either the headquarters or in the Otheon headquarters. This is a scene where Rhodey is just like running away with a suitcase, and then he gets approached by the cops, and this is the Golden Gate Bridge scene, and that's the Black Whip, using Black Whip as like Spider-Man just now, like this. And then this bird is the one that saves the world, which is crazy. And then this chip is the part where Todoroki tells Deku like, oh, you gotta take the battery out of the cell phone. So that's what happens there. This scene here with the fireplace is when Rhodey and Deku are sitting in the cave, and that's the chip and that's the key for stopping the bomb. This is the SD card for the data, and this is the key. And then this is just like, oh, this is what Deku's wearing, the overalls and the green polo. And that's Betos trying to track them down. Golden Gate Bridge, high-speed car chase. And then this is the Hero Association room, the one that All Might's with. This is the in the headquarters of Humorize. This is also a scene that happens with Todoroki going down the waterfall with the Leviathan dude. And these are all Humorize things. Humorize. This is also, these scenes happen in the Humorize headquarters. This scene happens in the airplane that Rhodey is flying. And these are just like action scenes in Humorize. Oh yeah, this is the part where Todoroki does like his crazy ice move. And this is where Bakugo gets like wrecked. He's like bleeding profusely. And he's like, yeah, this is actually before he gets super wrecked. And then this is Endeavor just like fighting Hawks in New York, Clairvoyance in Otheon, Gang Orca in Tokyo, I think he was in Tokyo. And then these are more of the villains. This is the twins that Bakugo fights. That's the Leviathan dude. And then this is the Reflect dude. And this scene is Deku fighting Reflect, the villain. And then these are just scenes from like Cairo, Tokyo, Paris, and Jiro in Tokyo, Tsuyu in Paris, Yaoyorozu in Singapore, and then Bakugo getting hurt. And then there's like an All Might flashback when Deku's talking about All Might. And then this part is this is like the Nakamura crazy part with Todoroki. And then this is Deku's fight with Reflect, and this part also happens when they're hacking the computer SD card. And this is the fight with Fleck in the headquarters, and that's Rhodey. This is Rhodey, I think, when he's like dying-ish and bleeding out. And then this is where Deku says like, you have to like fight as a hero. So yeah, that is the movie. Very interesting movie. It was fun. It was fun. I recommend still watching it if you guys are My Hero fans. So, oh, one more question. Waxium, Rhodey is basically fainting when the bird saves the world, right? Yeah. So basically, Rhodey is like he passed out. But right, so he was going to put the key into the control panel thingy, but he passed out right before he was able to do that. But the bird was able to fly like the distance to get the key into the slot. So Rhodey basically fainted, but the bird saved the world. So yeah, go Pino. This bird. At first, when I saw the character design of this bird, I was like, this bird is so random. I'm pretty sure they're just going to be like comic relief. Little did you know, it's actually the bird that saves the world. But yeah, if you guys don't have any other questions, then I guess I'll finish the stream here. If you do have any questions after this stream, you can comment on any of my threads, or you can send me a DM to ask any specific questions that you might have. And I'll probably watch the movie again sometime this week, or sometime next week. And if there's anything I missed, I'll probably tweet about it later in the week. So thanks guys so much for listening to my 2-hour talk about My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. I hope you guys had fun listening, and this will also be on Anime TV Japan's YouTube channel, and I will be kind of editing it and making it more cohesive, so you guys can listen to the review and the summary. So if you're interested in buying this manga or any of the merchandise, you can do so on itaikuji.com, and we are currently accepting orders for it, and the movie merchandise will be available for quite a long time, so you don't need to rush for that. But anyway, thanks guys so much for joining me today, and I hope you have a lovely day or a lovely night wherever you are. And Waxium, do you have Volume Rising? Yes, we still have Volume Rising, and we also have Volume 0 for the Two Heroes movie manga as well. So yes, I highly recommend checking out this manga because it has Horikoshi's actual 9 pages of original story, which is very interesting. And there's a lot of content in here that I'm sure if you're a My Hero Academia fan, you would really like. But yes, thank you guys for listening today. I hope you have a lovely day or a lovely night wherever you are. And if you have any other questions, just DM me on Twitter, or you can write it as a comment, and I'll try to get to it later this week. Thanks so much. Have a nice day. Bye.